My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system, which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. Erica Lorraine Spencer here. The following is an audio version of video evidence that is captured for purposes of mass distribution, which is why I am capturing it and sharing it on the podcast for evidentiary purposes and also to reveal the wealth of documentation that extends beyond what it is that I document on podcasts. Much of the video and images will be published onto the YouTube channel, the P.O.C, and it is also shared on the Google Drive. Again, this is for purposes of revealing what I remain subject to, which is federal group stalking and monitoring. It is a demonic system of state surveillance that the government is practicing in concert with the people of the state, and it should be known and well understood that for the government to engage in federal group stalking and monitoring, this is a crime that is committed with a criminal purpose to threaten the life of an American citizen. This is to conspire to murder and or permanently kidnap an American citizen while engaging in a perpetual sex offense in concert with the people of the state. All right, this is where the entity is maintaining what is ongoing plane activity. And these are demons who are stalking. And this is where they've been stalking all night long, engaging in surveillance. All right, they're not driving in sunlight. They're driving in engineered light. They're not under the sun. They're under the light source. This is the same location where the moon was last night, and that is over me. This is the same block where the entity has the sunset as well. This is the TABOR Professional Building, and it's currently 6:40 6:50 a.m. And the entity is maintaining this engineer light with regard to the people of the state are engaged in gang stalking, and they're doing so with the city of Ontario, being the specific environment, and it's also going to be used in the prosecution of the state of California, where the Los Angeles Police Department engaged in the same exact pattern of conduct and maintained a fake sun over Alvarado Gardens, which is not going to be aiming any light on G Street, where the people of the state are gang stalking, creating light activity, engaging in what is the maintenance of plane and helicopter activity and ongoing amplified audible activity, like I'm documenting with regard to surveillance. The entity is engaging what is stalking with light. Stalking with light is exhibited in this following manner. This is P.O.C. right here. This is in the shade, and this is the same exact light activity that's happening at nighttime, where the entity is stalking by helicopter, where the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking with the demons, who are the people of the state. They're driving at engineer light, and this is the evidence of it. It's all stalking with impossible light activity, because it's not the sun, and this is not the product of being under the sun. Neither does sun ricochet off of objects and at a great distance create your upright shadow, multiple shadows. These are demons who are stalking in plain sight, and this is the removal of every public official in Ontario that's engaged in what is a sex offense. It comes all the way down to what is monitoring my vagina, engaging in surveillance in the private space in every venue where I'm documenting the entity keeps the fake sun. Under normal circumstances, the sun is not going to be remaining over one block in one city over one person like I'm documenting, and also the sun doesn't create this light activity. This is the exact same light activity that's happening at nightfall, when I have also my shadows that are lined up on the floor right here. Well, who do you see flying in circles over me? The Ontario Police Department, who are being disbanded. Those are the demons who are stalking. They know exactly who I am, while the entity goes out of its way to keep touching me with light even when I'm sitting in the shade. They are all stalking with light, is what you're looking at. And to give you an even more precise example, they're literally stalking with light, where the entity, this is demonic. They're not driving under the sun. They're not driving in sunlight. And they also intentionally and unknowingly in that environment pursuant to surveillance, monitoring on communication devices, and they're violent sex offenders that monitor my vagina while they're engaging in that P.O.C. And you are stalking when you're living in relevant position. The people of the state in Ontario, in California, they're engaged in surveillance. You will be prosecuted for state surveillance. You're not protected when you're living in the specific environment. This is evidence of surveillance by the government, which you will be prosecuted for. This is absolutely impossible light activity. This is supposed to be the sunlight. All right? Driving on the street, that's how you know that they're demons, and that they're also not strangers stalking, as it's referred to, because gang stalking is not accurately understood. These are demons who are not strangers. They're targeting, and the targeting is shown through the environment. When you're driving on the street, it's not going to cause any sort of affect with regard to light all the way over here. That's how they're targeting. They are stalking with light. That's a demon that knows who I am, that's maintaining presence. This is surveillance. Okay, and they're driving in the engineer light, and that is the federal offense of gang stalking with the government. And they're also exhibiting mental illness, because the demon possessed are supposed to maintain that outside demeanor so that you are ignorant about their purposes, which is gang stalking you in a manner that is malicious in order to falsely depict the character of an American citizen that doesn't know any better and make statements like strangers are stalking me. That's why they do so in the manner that they do. It's called malice, and the people of the state are going to be diagnosed and prosecuted. This is P.O.C. You're looking at impossible light that's vacillating, moving, fanning across the wall. That's what they're doing inside of Starbucks. And this is the federal RICO case against the state of California. Starbucks is going to be prosecuted. This is stalking with light. It's happening in what are the venues where the entity, the state of California, the people of the state are profiting, where the demons engage in surveillance, sitting inside of Starbucks and companies like Starbucks that are engaging in what is selling their products to the demons who are gang stalking with the government in order to keep an American citizen under surveillance, and then commit egregious acts like kidnapping, like Starbucks did on July 4th, 2025, for which you go to federal prison. And this is evidence of exactly why they're going to federal prison. Everybody at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where the sun is not in any position to be in alignment with that window on Euclid Avenue, where I sat on that couch and the demons were pacing back and forth inside of that cafe. The entity is keeping what is the engineer light, and this is what they were doing in Starbucks, stalking with light, molesting with light. And this is what demons do, who are mentally ill, who are stalking obsessively as a population, and it's state action. Okay, so let me show you the fake sun, where you have engineer light just manifesting out of nowhere, because this is called stalking with light, and this is the same exact light activity at nightfall, and it's the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. Okay, this is P.O.C. It's 6:54 a.m. This is the P.O.C. All right, these are demons who are stalking, and it's a whole neighborhood by the way, and that's just where I am. The fake sun moves as I move, and it stays on this same street where it's setting. 7 PMG 905, 7873000. Those are third parties, and they're engaged in federal stalking. And I've documented thousands of the people of the state, and this is the prosecution of the state of California and the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. This is P.O.C. That's my shadow way over there. They're stalkers. That's criminal surveillance, and they're violent sex offenders. They're monitoring my vagina, okay? These are violent sex offenders, and that's exactly how they're going to be treated under federal law. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, it is Thursday, July 10, 2025. 8YVD613 is gang stalking me under the fake sun in the morning. 6XNV322, the same. And the video that I just captured, I will include it because I wasn't recording on the podcast, so I'm going to include that video on the podcast. And as opposed to you hearing ongoing consistent podcasts and then you hear me record the video. Stalking in the fake sun, 8PIA996, and license 5MDB204. And these are demons that have engineered light beside their vehicles on the ground while they're stalking. It's the direct evidence of demons who are not strangers, by the way, with regard to their legal status as gang stalkers, which again, a gang stalker, it's legally irrelevant to the federal case against the government for keeping you under surveillance through a population. And there are a lot of false ideas associated with identifying gang stalking or allegations pertaining to gang stalking, and that's because of the government's pattern of conduct. That's why. And also because 5PWZ767, because gang stalking is not understood. The system is not understood. So anyway, the people of the state that are stalking with light are not strangers that are stalking. Those are demons, first of all. This is demon possession exposed, 6YOX838. And they're also engaged in what is proving that they're targeting you specifically while they do things such as stalk with impossible light, while your body is molested with light inexplicably while they're right there in your presence. The entity is engaging in what is demonstrating the fact that they are targeting you through the impossible light, and that is what the evidence of the fake sun is about. The population itself is targeting you and knows exactly who you are while they are targeting you, which is evident through a specific environment. Moreover, the government's conduct, which again, departments like the Ontario Police Department, this is the foolishness of what the entity has done with regard to a legal prosecution. The government's targeting conduct is proof that the people of the state are not strangers and that they are targeting you while they're engaging in the exact same pattern of conduct. You will be prosecuted as the people of the state where the government is engaged in the P.O.C. 7TKU350, 78EA653. And that's the built-in prosecution of the people of the state where I have already shown that the people of the state are gang stalking. And then you look at the gang stalking conduct by the government itself, deviating from an airport to fly over and around me, stalking day and night in helicopter, clearly stalking under a fake sun when they're crossing path in police vehicles, they're stalking. And then you're looking at the people of the state, it's an inevitable prosecution. It's how you're prosecuting the conspiracy of targeting. And the entity that doesn't have any, they don't know what's going on. They're just literally the living dead and they're just pacing all around me. They are already exposed. They, like I said, they might as well walk around in the nude because that's how obvious it is what they're doing and how their system operates. And it's very unintelligent. So they're just a bunch of dumb demons. They're dumb. They're dumb, and they walk around in engineer light monitoring and stalking someone, and then they engage in that's supposed to intimidate the ordinary target individual. I understand that. That doesn't make the ordinary target individual dumb or weak. You're a human being, and these are not human beings. These are not normal people. These are sick people. This is mental illness that is covering a pervasive level of mental illness. And then you're supposed to be also intimidated and bullied because they gang stalk you with the police. The police will be disbanded. They'll go to federal prison. Public officials will be removed from office. The people of the state will be prosecuted. They'll go to federal prison. The entity will be subject to mental asylums. This is how you're going to break down that whole corrupt system. They're dummies. They're dummies. 1682198. That's the Ontario Montclair School District who's gang stalking inside of the 7-Eleven right now. They're on surveillance cameras. A Latino male stalking at the register, waiting for me to enter in. Where the entity, when I enter in, the entity and then comes into the parking lot. They're a bunch of demons that are again dummies, waiting, moving when I move. This is P.O.C. I got it. You're good. 7:03 a.m. Good morning. How are you? Okay. That's good. I'm gonna get oh, I thought you said. I mean, not like advice. Hey, that's that band. I like that band. I'll be right. I'll be. Yeah. It just ice. Yeah. I don't know how much you're gonna charge for it, but whatever. Well, actually, they sell these Pringles, right? These are all. Are these all $1?
Yeah, $1.
Ooh, Cheez-Its for $1? I like Cheez-Its. So that's... Okay, I'm going to keep it at that, actually. Okay, so let's try this again. I don't know if it was the banana that threw it off yesterday. I don't know what happened, but I'm going to try it again.
That's one by
Is it buy one, get one free still?
Yeah, this is EBT, no.
Huh?
It's no EBT.
Oh, you can't buy that with EBT. Maybe that's what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you for explaining that, because I was like, what was the problem? Okay, I understand that. That's interesting. I can buy it with EBT at the grocery store.
This page is EBT?
Yeah.
Okay. This banana no EBT page.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to get it. That's okay. Yeah, I'm not going to get it.
Okay. You want bag?
Please, I will need a bag, yeah. How much you charge me for this? $1?
Yeah, $1.
Okay, that's cool. Let me get a thing of fruit real quick. Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. So this is $1. It's not per se. You should be able to buy. This is audible activity while I walk to the opposite end of the store. Oh, yogurt. It's $1.99 too. I need a spoon. There we go.
Phone number?
77. Okay. These are both $1, right?
Yeah, $1.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
And 9.98.
All right.
ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਇਹਦਾ ਪੂਰਾ
Huh?
ਬ੍ਰੈਡ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਿਆ
All right. Thank you.
They are pink.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, $1 I.
What?
$1 का रह गया होगा. Yeah, $1. You have cash? मेरे $1 में
What
का
is it
रह
that
गया था.
what is
कल भी
it
$1 रह गया. इतनी बीटी तो कुछ और नहीं हो
What is it
रहा
that didn't go through on the card?
try again
This is all qualified for the.
तो वही को नहीं नहीं हुआ.
Is it the ice? Is that what is it?
No, no.
let me check try again
Okay. There's yogurt. There's the
try again
Okay. Looking for the secret. You think that'll be here?
ਇਹ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਦੁੱਧ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਰਿਆ ਕੋਈ
नहीं हाँ एक तरफ पर यार.
ਅੱਜ ਦਾ
हाँ.
ਉਹਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ
हैं?
ਉਹਦੇ नहीं ਹੁੰਦੇ
फिर दोबारा तो
let me
कैसे?
check I am first transaction
No.
cancel okay ਕਿਹੜਾ ਭਰਿਆ ਹੈ ਹਾਂ ਵਾਹ ਲਾਇਆ ਕਰੋ
I
okay go ahead okay first transaction cancel I give you receipt okay
Okay.
yeah
All right. I'll test it. Looks like it again.
I am all time working ma'am
Okay.
only $10
So you said
I
you
am not
canceled.
the chief
I know. I know.
Yeah.
No. But you said you canceled the other one, right?
yeah
Oh.
I am receipt for you thank you so much you know $1
Do you know why it's doing that? No.
this one the first transaction cancel okay this one
Yeah.
this one is
Okay. Thanks for fixing it. I just wonder why it does that. All right. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate it. At least you had help this morning. Hope you figure it out. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. License 7JIU327, 6PKH357. And it's currently 7:11 a.m. That's all happening under the fake sun. It's all monitoring. All of it. It is currently, again, I'm at 636 North Vine, where the entity has the fake sun rising, okay? And this is an ongoing consistent body of evidence showing surveillance by the entity, and it is underscored by the maintenance of an environment that is not only absurd, it's unnatural, and it is the proof of stalking by the government. The government that's keeping you under surveillance, that's following you around from place to place, keeping you under surveillance, that's a government that's engaged in stalking, and that's exactly what they're stalking you, and so you're going to be prosecuted for that. And they're doing more than just stalking. License, this is the I.I.S, and this is the Ontario Montclair School District, another demon. While they're documented, another one comes and engages in the P.O.C. They do the same thing all the time. License 1666269. You need to know that people associated with school districts, driving school buses, working at the schools, they're demons and they're sex offenders monitoring my vagina while they also have access to children. These are the things, these are the contradictions, these are the threats that need to be dealt with when this secret system is exposed. License 9MRF355, 2Z54453, QJET498, and 8GLF325. This looks like the I.C. Remember when I was at Starbucks, and I.C. is the one that went to quote unquote repair equipment inside of Starbucks. Nonetheless, whether it's the same vehicle and the same license plate, this is the third party conduct, and it's the company I.C. and it's a paper plate QJET 498, and the date July 26, 2025 is on it. Pacing into the parking lot. 6ZNK111. In engineer light, that's on the outside of the vehicle. These are demons. 36106T3. License plate 9NCL166. This is P.O.C. All right, and it's currently 7:13 a.m. United Airlines is gang stalking. Excuse me. You're fine. He's stalking in the path in front of me. United Airlines is gang stalking right now. It's got the United on while they're flying west, hovering in elevation over me, stalking with amplified plane activity. They're engaged in federal stalking, and they're doing so again with the Ontario International Airport. United Airlines is a third party engaged in that P.O.C. That's a federal RICO case. Again, every airline associated with the Ontario International Airport is going to be prosecuted. It's a federal RICO case against the people of the state. The third party companies, the people of the state that are acting in every capacity, including using their businesses, including providing instrumentalities for gang stalking, such as commercial planes. And you're going to be prosecuted for that. That's domestic terrorism and psychological torture, which United Airlines has been engaged in for years. All right, they're flying over the 7-Eleven, where I'm showing you the fake sun, where you're looking at the engineer light. They are stalking with light, just like you see the engineer light on the side of the wall, where they're going out of their way to molest me with light. United Airlines is stalking with light. They're hovering, and they're deviating from taking off anywhere near the airport as well, and doing so. They're stalking. So it is currently 7:15 a.m. This is P.O.C. And those are the dummies that are gang stalking. It's just a large collection of defendants, but numerosity does not equal superiority, clearly, or for being any sort of formidable adversary. They're not even adversaries, they're merely stalkers, and they're demons. They're already dead. 6XXT119, that's the demon that was gang stalking with her daughter in 7-Eleven. She lives over here apparently. 6XVE193, 7XPL229. 9HTF326, the years of evidence that I have of the Ontario International Airport gang stalking me over here at this intersection. There's no planes that are ever going to be over here. And I have years of the Ontario International Airport stalking me at every location, every hotel room I have in Ontario, every place where I'm at. And it's a far deviation from taking off from the airport. United Airlines taking off from Terminal 1 and Terminal 2, it doesn't result in hovering over the 7-Eleven at 636 North Vine Avenue. I'm not going to hear it. I certainly wouldn't be able to see the logo United on while they're flying west over 7-Eleven. It's on that's how I was able to see it, because they were flying south of my person, and I'm looking at the right side of the aircraft. All right, so they're stalking, and they're not taking off from the airport in doing so. And they're doing it also in the specific environment. So this is our collection of circumstances, which is speaking to targeting. Okay, why are you not taking off from the airport? Why is the Ontario International Airport engaged in a documented long-term pattern of not taking off from the airport, which you're not doing that? Remember, I'm at the 7-Eleven west from this location, meaning even farther away from here. They're doing the same thing like they're taking off over the Ontario Village Shopping Center. So you're flying up higher like you're taking off where I'm at here, east of the Stater Brothers, but then when I'm west, then I guess your United Airlines is going to lower down in elevation again and just engaging like they're on a roller coaster, perpetually taking off all over the place. Are they doing, like plane shows or something? Engaging? No, obviously they're not. This is clear stalking, and this is only shown. I don't want to say only shown, but this is highlighted. It's underscored. It's something that to be focused in. It's proven, in other words, with the evidence that I have. The evidence of clear targeting. Because the entity engages in that which they're relying on is never going to be examined. No one's ever going to complain about it. No one's ever going to bring it up, because the aviation, the airport authority themselves are the gang stalkers.
Moreover, the people of the state are also not going to bring attention to it. The city itself is not going to bring attention to it. They're all engaged in the criminal pattern of conduct, and they've never been subject to any common sense. This is only a common sense level of scrutiny, common sense. Now, guess what? The gang stalkers that are part of the federal government that aren't into this P.O.C., oh, they'll clearly be able to see and obviously know exactly where planes are supposed to be and expected to be, and the elevation and what you're supposed to hear throughout the city pertaining to what is agreed to and what is understood, which they agreed to on paper. When you have when you have an airport planned in a city, there are agreements and expectations and zoning laws, etc. And the entities engaging, and my evidence is what is proving that. And by the way, it's going to take the entity, the federal government that's not into federal group stalking and monitoring, in order to bring that truth out. But I already know, so I'm just giving you the evidence of it because they're stalking. They're stalking with commercial planes, and they've been stalking, flying over my head in my hotel rooms, flying over my hotel rooms, doing donuts over my hotel rooms, and guess what's over my hotel room? The fake sun. Okay, this is the P.O.C. And the Ontario International Airport's engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. And by the way, if you do not understand what actual mental illness, as opposed to this subjective nonsense that people want to look at absolutely normal behavior, but another person with some sort of mysterious insight, they look at normal behavior, oh, that's mentally, this subjective, non-scientific bias, a bunch of baloney. In other words, it's not the practice of medicine. And there's a reason why, because the entity is engaged in things like gang stalking you in order to falsely depict your character. All right. 7KXJ467, 7KXK476, 7LZU224, N993JO, 8AOB323, 8ORM860, 32410C3, 69578R1. These demons walked in. These demons are gang stalking at a fake church. By the way, this fake church has the Ontario police flying in circles over it under the fake sun in August of 2019, this is St. George. There are a bunch of demons and engaging in gang stalking while they're dropping off their children to go to the school, St. George. They're engaged in the P.O.C. They're doing so under the fake sun, and they're monitoring me while they're driving through. This is at Fern and E as in Edward, Fern and E Street. And one of these third parties I documented while I was capturing the video on TABOR Professional Building, that demon drove right over here and parked in this parking lot working at this fake church. Okay, they're demons. You know them by their deeds, not where they work, not by the uniform that they wear, not by the title that they hold, not by the demeanor that they seek to maintain with regard to perception, so that you don't think that they're a pedophile, so that you don't think that they're a demon, so that you don't think that they're a stalker. That's not how you know them. You know them by their deeds. And by the way, only demons are gang stalking. They're going to be prosecuted as criminals because it's surveillance committed by the government, but these are demons. This is the work of Satan. These are demons. MMCB. And guess what? A lot of demons go to church in California. A lot of them. It is currently 7:21 a.m. This is P.O.C. So like I was stating, the entity engaged in heavily documented stalking. If you'll recall, I'll just give you one example because I have many years of examples. Staying at the Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue. Economy Inn is documented in 2020, 2021. And the entity is engaged in kidnapping from Economy Inn as well. That's also identifying the specific environment where I document the P.O.C., where I document the fake sun rising and setting, in other words, when I engage in heavy documentation, that's where the entity engages in kidnapping, which Economy Inn has committed kidnapping, and with the Ontario Police that's being disbanded. So they're engaging in stalking by the Ontario International Airport as well. License 45124G3. Stalking while that demon deliberately looks in the opposite direction. You don't have to look at me. I'm going to prosecute you. Anyway, the entity keeps the fake sun over my room at Economy, and I've stayed there on more than one occasion. So that is evidence that's already published online. And like I said, my evidence is rich. There's It is, I would say it's a surplus, but then again, it's not, it's a surplus for I have established precedent. And that's the goal, because it needs to be known about the fact of what the United States government is doing in this country, and so that other people can refer to it. So now it's not some sort of, it's just like rumor, at a rumor level, well, gang stalking is this and gang stalking is that, and it's never been proven. And people say that, you know, monitoring, but no one's ever proven it. That's no longer, okay? And so that's also the purpose of the body of evidence that is the P.O.C. And the entity is engaging in a criminal system that is fully established as a fact. It is actually ongoing by the government, and it is shared necessarily with the people of the state, who are thereby not private citizens. They are state actors abusing, exploiting the Constitution, which I'm going to prosecute them for that as well. That's an unlawful threat, and it's psychological torture. License plate 7YGX154. While you look at what the people of the state do, while you look at how they're targeting, and then they're engaging in it while they're abusing constitutional rights, doing things like, oh, this is private property. That's a psychopath, and that's also unconstitutional. Unconstitutional conduct by the government. They're speaking as the state while they're gang stalking you. And while you're committing a kidnapping, you're going to federal prison for that. That's why I documented it. License 5CPF621, you're going to federal prison for that. So anyway, that's called malice, though. All right, these are the intricacies with regard to gang stalking that the average person is not. I mean, I understand you're not getting into the legal analysis. You're just getting into, they're harassing me, they're following me around, they're stalking me. Why are they always aiming light on me? The police are always following me around, et cetera, et cetera. But it is also deeper than that. And there is a legal theory surrounding what they're doing and how you prosecute it. Okay, so that's why I get into that, because it's for a prosecution. It's a resolution. It's the remedy. All right, so the entity is engaging in this pattern of conduct, and they're doing so while license plate 8LQH722. While I'm at Economy Inn at 2301 South Euclid Avenue, it is on Euclid Avenue is a very long street. So if you're familiar with California, there's the 60 freeway, and which the Ontario Police Department off of 2500 South Archibald Avenue is off of the 60 freeway, where the entity has the fake sun. This is how you surround them with evidence. Like, this is what I mean, they're dummies. And then you have at the opposite end, there's the 10 freeway off the Euclid Avenue nearest Upland, California, where the entity is engaging in keeping the fake sun Euclid Avenues nearest the 60 freeway. I've documented very heavily, very heavily. And that's also where the entity committed kidnapping. And so this is the fake sun that's over my head, which I've been at Economy Inn for more than one time. So when I am remaining in two separate rooms, you'll see the pattern of the entity keeping the fake sun situated over the room that I'm in. But also it's stalking with the fake sun. So when I walk outside of my room, the fake sun moves as I move. But the pattern is that the fake sun rises at that hotel park, it rises over the pool of that parking lot, and it sets in alignment to me, which I documented at Economy Inn. And you will see the Ontario International Airport that is flying over my room. I'm documenting it throughout the night, all day, all morning, including while I'm engaged in publishing documentation, creating my website at that time, as I would engage in other words, as I engage in documentation, use my device, just like I've been documenting Title 18 federal stalking, while the entity is keeping under surveillance and knows what I'm documenting, engages in the ongoing criminal P.O.C. 8CSS070. A bunch of demons stalking by traffic. This is what California is engaged in. But nonetheless, they're engaged in Title 18 conduct, federal stalking, surveillance. And they're keeping, this is also the trap that Christ Jesus has set for these demons. They're keeping evidence against themselves under surveillance. I'm going to prosecute you for that. And guess what else? What else is providence? It's a return to sender, because they're watching their demise. Since you want to stalk and monitor and obsess so much, you're going to watch your own and watch everybody else watch you be exposed and prosecuted. You're going to watch it. Satan wants to watch so bad, so you're going to watch your own destruction. So the entity is engaging what is keeping evidence against itself under surveillance while I document them and prosecute for that. It is legally relevant in any federal case, in any federal investigation. You're not going to interfere with that. That's called obstruction of justice. The entity is way outside of any sort of ability to recognize and appreciate. You're stepping inside of different territory here. This is not like it is before with the other targeted individuals. And you're subject to a prosecution, but you're dealing with the living dead. This is the demon with no license plate. That's on purpose. Anyway, crossing path light activity. So the entity is engaging in the P.O.C. And is doing so while keeping evidence against itself under surveillance. And that is shown, just giving you an example with regard to what the Ontario International Airport has been engaged in. And there is no one that's ignorant about that. The aviation, the airport, in other words, the airport authority is not ignorant about the years of document. The airport authority is very familiar with my vagina, monitoring me inside of every apartment that I've been inside, which is Tracy Banks' apartment in Ontario. It's the only place that I ever remained as I never had my own apartment in Ontario. And also inside of every hotel room, inside of every venue, monitoring my vagina, sex offenders, stalking in commercial planes. And mentally ill people are engaging in that. And this is what Alan D. WAPNER is associated with. He's been engaged in it, and so is the mayor of Ontario. The entity is doing so in a manner that is very plain and obvious. And they're also doing it with regard to a body of evidence that they've been keeping under surveillance. 79778C4 with the Ontario International Airport and 70959V2 with the Ontario International Airport. And let me show you the fake sun that's over here and the Ontario police that are in relevant position under the fake sun. All right, monitoring at 7:29 a.m. You saw the impossible light activity. The demons of the Ontario police that are being disbanded, stalking in the path. Vehicle 1661787. That's the license plate, vehicle 1066. The Ontario International Airport that sounds plane activity stalking is doing so with the Ontario Police Department. All right, and they're in relevant position. Where the fake sun is right now, this same department is stalking by helicopter at the same intersection at 6:10 p.m. like I documented on June 4th, 2025. This is where they're engaging in what is stalking in the path, stalking in the path with regard to where I'm at, and their mental illness is exhibited because they want to call it, oh, police training, or we're doing this, we're doing that. They're doing it under the fake sun, and that's the truth about their stalking conduct, which is supposed to be under the guise of some sort of program. The fake sun's never going to be over the Ontario Police Department. They're a demon-infected agency. They're a bunch of stalkers, and this entire department is being shut down because of their stalking conduct, and then trying to have it confused with law enforcement. It's 7:30 a.m. where the fake sun is over the same intersection where they're stalking me in helicopter at 6:10 p.m. P.O.C. And they're doing so with the Ontario International Airport, sounding plane activity while they're stalking in the path as a department, a bunch of demons calling themselves an Ontario Police Department. I'm going to document all their license plates. P.O.C. All right, it is currently 7:30 a.m. As you can hear, that's a demon of the Ontario Police. I'm going to document his license plate. They're doing the same thing that the people of the state do, accessing their vehicles, using them as a means of activity creation while I'm in the parking lot. Stalking. The Ontario International Airport that you just heard is monitoring with the Ontario Police Department that is stalking in the path. A bunch of psychopaths, gang stalking, not addressing you, not looking at you, which is what you're going to expect to see when they're engaging in the system of gang stalking. But what you're going to see is that fake sun over me, while they're all shown to be mentally ill psychopaths who are obsessed with my vagina under a fake sun that is not going to be over the Ontario Police Department at 9:32 when they're stalking, where that entire department is going to be shut down. These are demons that are stalking with the Ontario Police. All right, this is the same intersection, by the way, at C Street in Euclid, where the fake sun, like you can hear me documenting on podcast, the fake sun is here over me, okay? And that's duration of time analysis. And then also remember what LAPD is doing. While you're walking in, you're stalking with light. And this is the demon. He's accessing his vehicle again, which you can hear on the podcast because he's pacing back and forth, monitoring. I'm going to get his license plate, and he's also done with law enforcement. This entire department is. That's a demon. All right, and he's pacing around using a vehicle as light activity, doing it under the fake sun as the evidence of what is a mentally ill psychopath who's gang stalking. It is currently, by the way, again, while you're looking at the fake sun, it's 7:31 a.m. And this is where the Ontario Police Department engaged in kidnapping. This is not over 507 North Euclid Avenue, where this department engaged in what is criminal summoning based on their obsession with me and their criminal engagement, their interference with the federal case against itself, and engaged in what is kidnapping. And they did so in the specific environment. The specific environment which is consistently inconsistent, all right? And that's the evidence of stalking by a police department. Vehicle 1070. This is license plate. This is the entire department that's using what is another building to engage in what is stalking in the path, 1644207. You'll recall they're doing the same thing, putting up a sign as I documented weeks ago. These are demons that are pacing. They're pacing. They're all pacing. They're stalking. And I'm going to go through this parking lot and get all their license plates. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct. While they're doing so, they're engaged in federal stalking under Title 18. And they're engaged in what is gang stalking and calling it things like police training. They're not training under the fake sun. All right? They're not training under the fake sun, and their police department is under the fake sun as well. They're a bunch of demons. They're upright walking cockroaches, okay? And they're violent sex offenders. Every female, every male who's engaged in what is monitoring my vagina while they want to wear badges and uniforms and look like something that you're supposed to give respect to. No, you prosecute that. You put them in the proper facilities where they belong. Gang stalking police officers is an oxymoron, which is intolerable in the United States. And this is exactly why the Ontario Police is being disbanded. There is no natural environment that is shared by Los Angeles Police Department, by the way, as well, where the entity is keeping the fake sun at this same intersection, where this same department is stalking me like you see on a daily basis by helicopter, and you're looking at them engaging in what is stalking in the path, walking to and from their vehicles, tracking my steps, knowing where I'm going, the Ontario Town Square. After the department engaged in unlawful eviction, Woodside Senior Apartments, after the entity engaged in what is criminal summoning from Starbucks, and I'm monitoring them, they're monitoring me while I'm at the Ontario Town Square, so they're holding what is their training, and these are all their vehicles, I guess. I'm going to document all of them. They're gang stalking. License AWB3391 used as light activity while this demon walks back and forth engaging in the P.O.C. These are demons. All right, it's currently, again, 7:34 a.m. This is the entity that's keeping the fake sun over me, so I'm going to show you the intersection, and then I'm going to continue documenting on podcast, because this is the Ontario Police Department and the people of the state engaging in gang stalking, and they are doing what they do as a department pursuant to where I'm at. They're stalkers. And their stalking conduct, their stalking habits, their obsession with me, calling it police training. You can call it whatever you want. They call it also farmer's market under the fake sun. They call it movie night under the fake sun, and it's P.O.C. And this is the department. This is Mike Lorenz. These are the demons. These are the clowns embarrassed under the fake sun that sits over there, the department at 2500 South Archibald Avenue. All right, the entity's engaging in what they're bad actors. She's like, oh, look at this. They're demons. They're stalking me. That's why the fake sun is here. And their poor acting is exactly why mental examinations are built into the federal prosecution for gang stalking. There's no police training exercises under the fake sun. This P.O.C. So let me show you these demons in HD, because this is what they're calling police training. This is the same OVITT Family Community Library where this department committed kidnapping at 10:29 a.m. This is the same block. The sun's not going anywhere. This is the same block where I'm documenting coming from 507 North Euclid Avenue, the Starbucks at 507, which is south of this direction. And I'm here at this intersection, C and Euclid, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It is 7:35. And these demons are acting like, oh, look, why is she recording it? These are demons that are bad actors. They're being exposed, and they're going to be prosecuted and disbanded. This is criminal conduct. Stalking is not law enforcement. These are demons that are engaging in a practice of law enforcement. This is the same intersection where you see the fake sun in the same position as it is at 6:10 p.m. on June 4, 2025, where this department heavily documented engaged in stalking and monitoring, including with the helicopter activity at 6:10 p.m. stalking me by helicopter under the fake sun that's at the same exact intersection. This is not police training. This is the P.O.C. They call it police training. It's happening in the specific environment. This is called malice. And these are the idiots. These are the dummies that have put the people of the state where they belong in federal prison as well. The entire unintelligent system, this is what Paul Leon is cooperating with. They're gang stalking with the mayor. They're gang stalking with the fire department. They're gang stalking with the airport. They're gang stalking with the people of the state. And these sociopaths, these psychopaths, these sex offenders get past the academy into law enforcement. They are going to be the template as to why more should be required, including an education requirement where you should at least be able to spell Constitution, and maybe we'll have less corruption, maybe less sex offenders, maybe less demons, witches, and warlocks in law enforcement while they're engaging in this P.O.C. under the fake sun. All right, this is passive aggressive to the nth degree, impossible light across the wall while a demon is monitoring with them. License 9STE844, 9STEB44, excuse me. This is the entity that's in that specific environment. So psychopaths, they're not going to address you because there's no intelligent response to being under a fake sun, which is exposing their mental illness. And this is Tracy Banks' co-defendant. These unintelligent imps who are in over 100 videos gang stalking as of their latest kidnapping on June 3rd, 2025. There's nothing to say. So that's why gang stalkers will keep their back to you as though they're just chit-chatting. But what you're looking at is what controls this in what is superseding in a specific environment. You go to federal prison for gang stalking bearing weapons. These are demons who are pacing. They're demons. That's demonic pacing. That's not sunlight. Don't forget the video of the fake sun around the block at 6:40 this morning, and I'm being molested with light that's appearing in the shade. They're all under a fake sun. They're stalking as a whole police department. They have the fake sun also over the Ontario Police Department, and it won't be there, just like I showed you yesterday, where it's over the Ontario City Hall, and that's exactly where it stays. This is the same block where the fake sun's in the same position when I walk outside of the OVITT Family Community Library at 6 p.m. This is P.O.C. It's currently 7:37 a.m. This is the disbanding of these cockroaches, the Ontario Police. This is not law enforcement, this is stalking, and it's an embarrassment, and it's also criminal. All right, this is P.O.C. at what is C Street and Euclid. And this is, again, the federal prosecution of the Starbucks Corporation. They committed kidnapping with the Ontario Police Department. And in the federal RICO case against the people of the state, I'm going to prosecute Starbucks. And those employees are going to federal prison. This is P.O.C. All right, you're listening to me document that video. The entity is engaged in gang stalking by the Ontario Police Department, which they're calling police training exercises. They're doing it under the fake sun. It's in the same exact specific environment. The entity is doing so while they're pacing. They're walking to and from their vehicles in the parking lot. They're pacing. All right, and they're bearing weapons and monitoring, and they're tracking my steps. The Ontario International Airport sounding plane activity as I arrive at the intersection is also evidence of that. It is currently 7:38 a.m. It's July 10th, 2025. This is P.O.C. I'm going to capture, this is for the prosecution of the demons that are gang stalking, identified with the Ontario Police Department. All right, Ontario Police Department vehicle license plate 1446350, vehicle 1891. And the entity is referring to what is supposedly police training as the reason for stalking in the path. That's malice, 9FIK348. And on video, you'll see the Ontario Police exhibiting demon possession, present under the fake sun, and the activity creation going to and from their vehicles is activity creation. Remember, as I show you the engineer light that touches the car, it's all over the ground. They open and close. They pace around the vehicles. They open and close their doors. They're not getting something. They're not forgetting stuff. They're monitoring, and they're demons. And their mental illness is also a disqualification from law enforcement, in addition to their criminal conduct of gang stalking. All right, it is currently, again, let me show you this. 7:39 a.m. Oh yeah, this one doesn't have a license plate on it. AWB 3391, that's a Wisconsin plate. The Ontario Police Department. Or at least a demon of the Ontario Police Department accessed that vehicle. Okay, again, I'm going to document vehicle 1066, license 1661787, license 7BBK488. Wisconsin plate, license AWB 3391, 7XPT059, 44563P3, 8MUF144, 09710V2, W859JO. This is an Ontario Police motorcycle, California exempt 3008848. This is another California exempt vehicle, 1515411. License 7JZY725, 22525G3, 0248 4N3, 8VEU479. This is Arizona, CWS 1338, and 08166A4. You'll see the fake sun as I capture the images of the license plate, 7:41 a.m. And you're always mindful of what Los Angeles Police Department is doing under the fake sun while I'm in Alvarado Gardens. The Ontario Police are being disbanded for kidnapping upon gang stalking. LAPD is gang stalking as well, but Ontario Police engaged in serial kidnapping. They're being disbanded. All right, it is currently 7:41 a.m. I believe I got all these, but let me just read these in case. Yeah. 08592G4, 77483J2, Ontario Police, vehicle number 1927, license 1515411. Yeah, I got all these. 4456323. This license plate X2MCH. And you're mindful not only of comparing it to LAPD. I am also remaining at Woodside Senior Apartments. What's over Tracy Banks' apartment outside of her front door and over the building, because units 33 to 64 is not over where the Ontario Police Department are gang stalking at Euclid and Street. And also, again, there's so many angles where you're looking at this. The fake sun at the C Street in Euclid right now is still here at 12 hours from now, which is what I was referring to in the video, where this department is stalking. You're stalking under a fake sun that sits at one location for 12 hours when you look at the body of evidence of surveillance, which is demonic, and you're looking at a bunch of demons that are going to be relieved as they are a threat to the public, engaging in surveillance and wearing police uniforms while doing so, and failing at trying to keep that surveillance system a secret. They're engaging in the pattern of conduct while they are engaging in what is obstruction of justice, repeatedly kidnapping as an entity. It's not just the Ontario police that are kidnapping. The people of the state that are gang stalking with them are kidnapping, and that's why the people of the state are going to federal prison, because of the crime that is underway, which is criminal surveillance. License 8 VVU 368, gang stalking with the Ontario Police Department. All right, and this is the intersection where you see the Ontario International Airport gang stalking at the intersection when I'm arriving at 1 in the afternoon under the fake sun, when I'm present at 4, 5, 6 in the evening under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. The Ontario Police gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport. That's amplified audible activity. This is the deviation from the airport terminals 2 and terminal 4, and this is the Ontario Police stalking in the path, and the people of the state are monitoring with them. This is light activity, relative positioning, audible activity under the fake sun, and this is the police department itself gang stalking in the path. This is public corruption. This is the department that is a threat to the public. They're incentivizing sexual violence. They're incentivizing stalking conduct, criminal surveillance, and they're doing so pursuant to what is Title 18. And you're looking at the shared mental illness while they're gang stalking and outwardly as though nothing is happening. What you're going to look at is the fake sun, and what you're mindful of is the impulsive light activity. And you're also looking at the entity that's engaging in what is monitoring in plain view. There's no airport from 2500 Airport Drive where you're flying over this building right here. These are the demons that are caught. There's nothing intelligent to do but stand there and look stupid and be documented. What they've done is engage in kidnapping, however, and that's why these clowns are being disbanded. They like to monitor my vagina as well. They also don't want to address that. So they stand there. This is P.O.C. Excuse me? I see the car. I see the car. Thank you. That's activity creation. License 4B39558. That's activity creation. License. That's Penske, gang stalking. Impossible light on the side of the vehicle, and the Ontario police are gang stalking with them. That's activity under the fake sun. That's still here. That's activity creation while they're, well, watch out, get out of the road. They're monitoring together. Okay, that's P.O.C. It is currently, again, 7:45 a.m. That's the Ontario International Airport that's gang stalking, engaging the elements monitoring together. All right, license plate 79778C4 and license 9MBW405. License 9FHM657, and you'll recall where the entity is engaging in what is police training under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. This is the entity stalking by helicopter. That's the same pattern of conduct. That's the same Ontario police stalking everywhere that I'm at in the city, day and night by helicopter. They're doing it in the specific environment, and that's light activity, peculiarized light by stalking. The state controls the traffic lights. They're all under the fake sun, and this is the OVITT Family Community Library where they committed kidnapping on June 16th, same time of year, 10:29 a.m. That's 3 hours later. The fake sun's not going anywhere. The entity's engaging in that P.O.C. This department's being disbanded. This is P.O.C. They're engaging in the conduct with the public. They're being disbanded. They're engaged in serial kidnapping to obstruct justice. They're being disbanded. They're engaging in criminal conduct as a citywide effort with the people of the state, and they're demons in doing so. Stalking with light, stalking under the fake sun. This is P.O.C. Satan is not given any legitimacy because Satan is wearing a badge. Satan is being disrobed from that position, and not to be confused with legitimate, noble, and honorable law enforcement, which is not stalking and it's not gang stalking. This is the fake sun at what is 7:46 a.m. This is the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department, bringing embarrassment. This is not police training. This is the P.O.C. Alrighty, it is currently 7:46 a.m. So you're hearing me going from video. I just captured video. The Ontario International Airport, gang stalking, hovering. Okay, remember, I'm walking south. Excuse me, I'm walking east, rather. I'm walking east. So as I'm walking east, you had United Airlines that was acting like they were taking off when I was west of this address. You have the entity engaging in the same conduct where I'm east of that location, and they are engaged in what is, again, perpetually taking off everywhere, where you're looking at all the cockroaches of the Ontario police gang stalking at the intersection where I'm capturing this fake sun that's still here at 6 in the evening. And I just documented all of their license plates. That is their vehicles that they own, as well as the police vehicles that they're using to engage in criminal activity, which is the removal of the mayor, the gang stalking mayor. It's the removal of the entity that's gang stalking with the municipality, that's gang stalking with the people of the state, that I'm also documenting in real time and on video. All of this is showing the kidnapping that they engaged in with Starbucks, because the sun is not seen through Starbucks' window like where L. Edwards is present at 7:15 in the morning, and the fake sun is right there while he's engaging in what is an assault and battery pursuant to criminal summoning with the intent to obstruct justice while keeping the evidence under surveillance with Starbucks Incorporated. They're going to prison. They're going to federal prison. License 7XJX314. And I want to be clear, they're engaged in surveillance while the entity is engaging in that pattern of conduct. And the entity's inability to stop obsessing and stalking me is exactly why the evidence is so wealthy with regard to prosecuting the pattern of conduct and prosecuting a gang stalking police department who relies on the people of the state, and they incriminate the people of the state. All right? It's an unintelligent system. And it's serving to prosecute the people of the state, and it's serving to prosecute the state as well. All right, this is P.O.C. There's no natural environment where I'm sitting at Starbucks and I don't leave Starbucks on this same street until 1 in the afternoon, and you're looking at the exact same circumstances in the sky space. That's the Ontario Police gang stalking. License 7CWN512, ID 4 AWD. They're gang stalking with the Ontario International Airport that just made a U-turn over this same intersection right here. AWHK 315 87909J3. And remember, this is where the Ontario Police are gang stalking at 6:26 in the evening at the Ontario Town Square. I documented that demon on video. They're at the same location where they're gang stalking right now at 7. They're going to federal prison. Their evidence of heavily stalking me is putting every single last one of them in prison. Why? Because domestic terrorism in the United States is not tolerated, just like it's not tolerated when it's coming from abroad. And domestic terrorism, by virtue of what is corruption of the executive branch, where gang stalking police departments are representing an unlawful threat, and now the intent to obstruct justice because their gang stalking activities are being exposed. You're going to prison, in other words. Let me break this down for you high school graduates, for you GED recipients that are corrupt, okay? Gang stalking police officers, that's domestic terrorism in the U.S. You're going to federal prison. And the evidence of you stalking this morning at 7 at the same intersection where you're stalking at 6 in the evening at this same location, I'm putting you and your partners in federal prison. You and your partner that's stalking at 4:07 p.m. on this same street at the Ontario Town Square, he's going to federal prison in vehicle number 1076. Your demons that are gang stalking at 1:07 p.m. at the OVITT Family Community Library at the entrance at this same location, they're going to federal prison. That's why when you're looking at them looking stupid, they look stupid under the fake sun. Nobody is convinced when you're looking at the fake sun. That's Satan that's relying on you to look at their facial expressions and the fact that they have something referring to the police as though that is some sort of superior identification. No, it's not at all. And by the way, it's embarrassing under the fake sun. They're demons. They're demons, and all of the demons that are already captured in that evidence while they're calling at police training right now, all the demons that I already have at the same location. At 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, they're going to prison. They're going to federal prison as I document them. Communicating the same threat. That's not police training, that was P.O.C. And they're putting their partners and the people of the state where they belong in federal prison. They serve my purposes, my prosecutorial purposes, exposing them to be the gang stalkers that they are under a whole fake sun that sits over me at this same location from the beginning until the end of the day. And that's Tracy Banks' co-defendant. She's going to federal prison as well. That's Jason Isaac Fields' co-defendant. Defaming my character with demons like that. A whole bunch of unintelligent imbeciles who are disqualified from law enforcement who are going to federal prison. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. This is what the corrupt courts are relying on with regard to defaming my character and keeping me outside of knowledge of any sort of property that I own and any sort of court hearings pertaining to that property where a bunch of gang stalkers are in a corrupt court defaming my character about property that belongs to me. They're going to federal prison. 7WXH497. This corrupt department is being disbanded for being engaged in this conduct and kidnapping me with regard to helping criminals like Jason Isaac Fields who are defaming my character based on the criminal activity of the Ontario Police Department. He's going to federal prison and so is Tracy Banks. All right, and I want to let you know the bigger picture, they're all demons. This is exposing public corruption that the state of California is routinely engaging in, targeting American citizens. It's 7:52 a.m. This is P.O.C. at the Ontario Town Square. The landscaping is activity creation. The Ontario Police are monitoring right now. So I just captured all that, and you need to know that they're monitoring while they're calling it police training. That's just the superficial veneer. They're stalking under a fake sun, and they have no warrant, no probable cause to engage in the malicious pattern of conduct of stalking an American citizen with evidence under the specific environment that P.O.C. is underway. And because they want to associate criminal conduct with law enforcement, calling things like police training when it's gang stalking, they're being disbanded. Because it's not law enforcement, they're engaged in criminal surveillance. It's P.O.C. It's currently, again, 7:52 a.m. on July 10, 2025. That's the Ontario Police that are serving to prosecute the unintelligent imps who are the people of the state, gang stalking with them all day long, while I'm remaining inside of the OVITT Family Community Library, and the fake son is still here, and they called it police training in the morning. It's not police training, it's the P.O.C. And this is where you're going to look at the evidence, the big picture of the evidence of the demons that don't have any defense in federal court. There's no explanation, and they cannot reconcile the environment where they're always engaging what is harassing, they literally included even the helicopter activity. The entity is going, Ontario Police is being disbanded. There's nothing else to say about that. They're being disbanded, and they're also being publicly exposed while they're facing that level of a punitive reaction with regard to engaging in criminal surveillance at this level. With a population, they're not just stalking as a few officers, the entire department is engaged in stalking one person. And the reason for that, and the methods that they are employing, is exposing what is their condition. They're mentally ill, they are demons. They're mentally ill. The fact that they're engaging in what is quote unquote police training under a fake son is your evidence about what is wrong with them mentally. And their criminal engagement in the pattern of conduct is relevant to their behavioral issues. Mental examinations are inherent to the prosecution for federal group stalking and monitoring, and it's not going to be different for the gang stalkers of the Ontario Police. All right, it is currently, again, 7:54 a.m. This is evidence against Tracy Banks, evidence against every third party that engaged in what is defaming my character, and these courts that sought to steal property from me by relying on the criminal conduct, the targeting practices of a corrupt law enforcement agency that includes Ontario Police and the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, all of them surrounded with evidence of gang stalking me. And this is what the entity relied on in order to defame my character, in order to steal property that belongs to me. And they're going to prison. Eric Corey Spencer, Tommy Allen Banks, Tracy Lemire Jenkins, Jason Isaac Fields, Shanita Ramaya McLean, and anybody else that's engaged in what is bearing false witness in court. They did so in cooperation with this corrupt system, anticipating my murder, anticipating my kidnapping, because I was never supposed to be able to speak and testify to it, which is also why you're going to federal prison. It's state action. Even as they bear false witness in court, understand it's state action. The entity is providing a venue for them to engage in this state system of gang stalking, bearing false witness against a targeted individual that remains subject to gang stalking, and you never hear their side. They know nothing about the bearing false witness in the first place, while they are being subject to this ongoing campaign against their life and reputation. You're going to federal prison. As surely as the Ontario Police called their gang stalking this morning police training and relevant position under the fake son. That fake son is going to be here 10 hours from now. They're going to federal prison. It is currently, again, 7:55 a.m. This is P.O.C. It's 8:01 a.m. The entity is gang stalking as I upload the documents, as I log on to, first of all, Ontario Wi-Fi. This is federal stalking online, surveillance. And as I log on to the Wi-Fi, amplified plane activity. And you already know that the fake son followed from the TABOR Professional Building to the Ontario Town Square, replete with crossing paths with the Ontario Police Department, calling their gang stalking police training under the fake son, and in the exact same impossible light activity and the criminal circumstances of stalking by the Ontario International Airport. All right, they're doing so while I am getting onto the Wi-Fi website and sounding plane activity. Pacing all around me at the Ontario Town Square, where you know that it's gang stalking because the fake son is still here at 6 in the evening. P.O.C.
Alright, this is activity creation that you're listening to. It's happening under the fake sun, where I'm in use of my device, and it's maintaining the elements of monitoring, doing so as an entity. Alright, the landscaper's pacing around an engineer light. He's monitoring, he's maintaining activity while I'm uploading images and video up to the Google Drive, which you'll be able to access on the P.O.C website. All the pictures, all the images, and all the videos. And I'm also going to upload the videos to YouTube. They're monitoring this. This is federal stalking conduct, criminal activity, maintaining the activity, and they're doing so. So understand the plane activity is also a method of activity creation. Helicopter activity is a method of activity creation. Stalking me with impossible light is a method of activity creation. It's just a means of identifying the government actors and the departments that are gang stalking, applying names to it because they're going to be prosecuted for that. The entity sounding helicopter activity, I just documented the whole parking lot full of demons that are with the Ontario Police Department. That's relevant for federal prison, and the department's being disbanded, and they're already documented in over 100 videos since this June 3rd, 2025 kidnapping. That's the entity that sounds helicopter activity, as though you're not making a statement when you're being exposed and prosecuted. Their mental illness is also why they're disqualified from law enforcement. They're not just fired, they're never going into law enforcement ever again. Okay, this demon that's holding the leaf blower is gang stalking with the city. It's federal stalking, and the entity is going to produce the name. Any gang stalking immigrants are being deported. It's 8:07 a.m. Alrighty, as of 8:08 a.m., all of the up-to-date documentation is published to July 10, 2025 and July 9, 2025. This is what the demons are monitoring right now. The city of Ontario gang stalking using a dumpster truck. Those dumpster trucks represent light activity and crossing a path. There's also light on the vehicles themselves as they create light activity, and everything that those demons do is amplified in volume. They're gang stalking. That's the municipality. That's, again, the removal of Polyon, a gang stalking mayor. It's 8:08 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, taking off over the TABOR Professional Building, which is northwest. They're taking off under the fake sun over me at the Ontario Town Square. 224 North Euclid Avenue, City of Ontario. And this is exactly what the Ontario Police Department did on video, where they are stalking while the fake sun is over me
in the presence of the Ontario Police Department, where they're calling gang stalking police training. That's why they're being disbanded. Their criminal activity that they're doing under the guise of being a legitimate police department, and they're gang stalking with the City of Ontario that uses commercial planes and the criminal misuse of an airport to engage in domestic terrorism. Terrorism of an American citizen that's also detailing it, publishing it on the internet in order to prosecute it. And it's relevant to the mental illness that's going to be attributed to those stalking an American citizen using commercial planes. It's also relevant to the federal RICO case against the people of the state, the government that's engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring with every business in the state of California. Okay, that includes the airlines that are gang stalking. It's currently 8:10 a.m. This is at 224 North Euclid Avenue. The Ontario Town Square is government property, meaning it's property of the City of Ontario. It's a state facilitating venue where the fake sun is remaining over me. And this is where the Ontario police are gang stalking at the same Ontario Town Square, like I documented, at 4 o'clock after 6 p.m. Stalking by helicopter. They're all going to prison. I documented them on video. I got their license plates, their vehicle numbers. They're looking at me, looking stupid on video, and they're going to federal prison. It's currently 8:11 a.m. This is P.O.C. All right, 8:23 a.m. Plane activity over the town square as I began uploading and processing the podcast. This is federal stalking. All right, that's the government. That's a stalker, super stalker. And that's getting into the mind of the demon-possessed who are gang stalking altogether. And going to the extreme extent to use commercial planes to do so, that's a raging, maniacal psychopath. Capable of murder, capable of kidnapping, capable of bearing false witness, okay, capable of setting people up, setting up innocent people. This is what the gang stalkers do, and they are in public office. They're in positions of authority. They are being exposed. They're being prosecuted. It's 8:24 a.m. This is relevant to what is surveillance on my devices, surveillance online, and the Ontario police are gang stalking, and they called it, which is why they're being disbanded. They're calling it police training. They're stalking, tracking my every move and monitoring my vagina, and are at that venue of 303 Euclid Avenue with regard to stalking in the path. And they're doing so as the people of the state are typically the ones sitting around babysitting, stalking at the Ontario Town Square. So the Ontario police is engaging in it directly, which is, again, the unlawful threat posed by the entity. It's also a threat while the people of the state are sitting around gang stalking you. But the entity is doing so. Understand what the entity is doing directly and vicariously. Okay, so stalking with louder plane activity is the entity's ongoing evidence of stalking by the Ontario Police Department. Okay, those are the demons that have no defense. They are fully exposed. They are shown to be psychos. They're shown to be stalkers, and they're shown to be criminals. And this is exactly the system that Tracy Banks sought to profit from, and that the corrupt judges defaming my character in reliance upon the criminal activity of the state of California intentionally and knowingly, not accidentally, not ignorantly, not because they were negligent as a judicial official. It's because this is a system of surveillance, a system of targeting, and this is I'm exposing what the entity does to American citizens. And these demons, these psychopaths, tried to steal property from me by defaming my character on paper secretly behind my back concerning property that I was never even told about. Everybody's going to federal prison. Every single last person associated with it, and it includes Jason Isaac Fields defaming my character in unprecedented manners in corrupt courts, where he is not engaged in any legitimate investigation. He's gang stalking like the Ontario police, like the Ontario International Airport. He's gang stalking with his sex partner, Tracy Banks, that grandma that he's been sleeping with for years. He's gang stalking with this sex cult. They're demons engaging what is targeting me. And I'm not only exposing these demons, but I'm going to prosecute them. This is a grand scheme trying to steal from me and also defame my character necessarily in doing so. Because in California, which is going to change, these laws are going to change, because when you can manufacture mental illness on paper, that's not actual mental illness either then, in fact. It's getting to what is the ineffectual, non-scientific, imprecise means of diagnosing mental illness when someone else can target someone and just make it up and manufacture it, put it together on paper, and make it seem as though they are mentally ill, as the law states that where one is mentally ill in such manner that you can use a conservatorship to control their property, and moreover do it in a corrupt manner, a secret conservatorship about property that was never disclosed, while you're gang stalking an American citizen, and that's what you're using, that criminal system, in order to steal from that person and falsely depict their character. That's not mental illness, both by the gang stalking entity that does not prove mental illness. It proves that they're stalking, just as what this evidence proves. And everybody that's engaging in what is gang stalking, trying to steal from me, is going to prison. Not only that, it's relevant to the ineffectual, the imprecise, and the unjust, the unconstitutionally vague practices of the medical profession, which is it's under the law to take property from American citizens. Because it's so imprecise, because it's so unconstitutionally vague, this shall not be a basis to take anybody's property at all, or take anybody's liberty against their will. Because this is what the gang stalkers do. That right there, that's activity creation. They're a bunch of demons gang stalking under a fake sun. That bears no reflection on the targeted individual's character. But this is how that corrupt system is used. All right, this is serving for what is changing the laws, the abuse of the Welfare and Institutions Code, the abuse of the practice of medicine, where a bunch of psychopaths are engaging in what is manufacturing diagnosis when they've never even met me. And by the way, they're engaged in the pattern of conduct. They are actually mentally ill. They're psychopaths that act with gang stalking police departments and gang stalking family members and fake friends who are together conspiring against you about property that they want to steal. Nobody ever told me about money that they're trying to steal from me. Why didn't anybody ever tell me about this money? And why didn't anybody ever tell me about these so-called crimes that I committed while I'm being simultaneously kidnapped by that Ontario Police Department that's being disbanded? I'm sitting around kidnapped, holding up signs in facilities on camera, talking about they're kidnapping me, didn't have a court hearing, just threw me in the ward. This is defamation. This is Title 18 federal stalking. I'm being kidnapped while Jason Isaac Fields is defaming my character in these courts about property that he thinks he's going to steal and get away with stealing. He's not. Him and his sex partner, his grandma, they were laid up having sex rituals together. They're both going to federal prison. Both of those perverts. And the Ontario Police Department is being disbanded for criminally cooperating with that corrupt system. They're not engaged in law enforcement. They're engaged in gang stalking. They think that they're covered with having connections that are no, they're not connected. They're not protected. They're not shielded from anything. Everybody that's engaged in that system has been fully exposed, and all angles, all facets of it are going to be removed. The Ontario Police is being disbanded. Every gang stalking kidnapper, everybody that's been stalking me pursuant to the system, as I capture them under the fake sun, proving surveillance of a satanic nature, they're going to prison. And everybody attached to that, the demons in the courts. Because that's what they are. They're demons. They're corrupt public officials, but these are demons. And they're going to prison. And the criminal activity by the Ontario International Airport, the criminal activity by the Ontario Police Department, the criminal activity by corporations like Starbucks and corporations like Avanath Capital Management and Speaker Companies Incorporated, they're going to federal prison. This is the system. This is the big picture. Okay, so while I'm documenting the pattern of conduct as I remain subject to it, do not get lost in the trees. See the forest from the trees, because this is the big picture. They've been targeting, and they've been doing this with regard to Tracy Banks's lack of any genius. This demon's going to prison because she's been targeting with a bunch of imbeciles, okay, who have been documented for years, engaging in an identical pattern of conduct that's beyond a coincidence. It's called a P.O.C, and they're going to federal prison for their unintelligent system that they've engaged in, and it's also going to serve to change the way that the laws operate in this country so that the U.S. government can't target American citizens in the ways in which I've shown that they do. To steal from you, to kidnap you, take you, however the government finds you to be a threat, they will target you, and they engage in what is the ultimate and what is in the vernacular referred to as what is gaslighting. Then they'll blame you, claim that you're a criminal or claim that you're mentally ill when they're targeting you. Yeah, the laws are going to change behind that, okay? The Ontario Police gang stalking, driving in the Ontario Town Square while their partners are gang stalking at 303 Euclid Avenue, where I captured the fake son and they're calling it police training. They're driving around the same Ontario Town Square where you know the fake son is still here. 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 hours from now, they're gang stalking me. They're monitoring, they're engaging in surveillance, and it's obvious surveillance. And it is literally the body work for putting all the gang stalking judges, all the gang stalking third parties bearing false witness against me, conspiring against property that none of them, they're not touching. And anybody that already did steal property, they're admittedly engaged in targeting. Because how are you sharing in property? How were you even able to steal or know about property that belongs to me? Well, it's not a coincidence that I'm being targeted in the way in which I'm documenting. That's an admitted gang stalker. You're going to prison. All right. You know why they're stealing from me? Because they were counting on my being dead already. You're going to federal prison. They were counting on my being kidnapped in a facility and doing so by adjudicating in an unjust manner, in a defamatory manner, and it's criminal defamation. That's basis of federal prison, not civil defamation with regard to merely pecuniary harm. This is criminal defamation where they're trying to kidnap you and keep you in a facility. You're going to federal prison. That's why they stole my money and my property and thought that they were going to get away with it. That was the result. Understand why you're going to federal prison. Understand why gang stalking police officers are going to federal prison. Understand why Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks are going to federal prison. Eric Corey Spencer lying on my character, he's going to federal prison. Everybody else that calls themselves some sort of fake, they're fake family members, they were lying in court and they're not getting any of my money and what they're going to federal prison. These demons were counting on my death. They were counting on my being locked up in a facility somewhere. And what they're getting, their prize, their reward is federal prison. I'm not going anywhere, and I'm also not going to be locked up in a facility. They are. They're going to federal prison. It's currently 8:33 a.m. The entity is engaging with a sounding plane activity as I begin processing the podcast, which I'm going to continue doing now. It's 8:33 at the Ontario Town Square where the fake sun remains. I'm going to go ahead and capture an image of that. This is where the entity is maintaining surveillance around me, which is referred to as the specific environment, where the entity is stalking with the fake sun from the beginning to the end of the day, and the obvious engagement of criminal conduct in that environment, which is clearly ridiculous, because how is the sun in Florida when I'm showing you from the beginning until the end of the day a sun remains over me? These are the imbeciles that were going to try to falsely depict the character of myself. Not only can you not make someone else look crazy, you are the one that is a delusional psychopath. This is speaking to what is scientifically relevant. Nobody is going to be falsely depicted when you're being gang stalked by a bunch of idiots who are demons stalking under a fake sun. Those psychopaths are going to mental asylums where they belong. They're going to federal prison. That's where they belong. And they're very unintelligent in doing so. They're dummies. Okay? It's currently 8:34 a.m. under the fake sun where the entity keeps it over me all day long. Where there's no mystery about who's going to federal prison. And the department, the main one that's being disbanded is the Ontario Police Department. This is P.O.C. All right, the video that you are going to listen to now is what I captured while I am publishing. So I published the podcast online, and the entity is the Ontario Town Square is gang stalking. This is the city of Ontario, in other words, when I say the venue name. The city of Ontario is gang stalking. The landscaping is audible activity. They're under the fake sun that's over the Ontario Town Square. This is criminal activity that the city of Ontario is engaging in at the address of the venue, and it's also serving to prosecute Starbucks, the corporation, because the sun is not the natural environment that surrounded me while I was subject to gang stalking at Starbucks, who then committed kidnapping with the intent to obstruct justice and harass me and retaliate because I'm documenting them monitoring my vagina in the bathroom at that venue, amongst other things, while they're engaged in surveilling evidence against them and the corporation. The entity is engaging with a stalking by helicopter while the landscaping is a means of audible activity. I captured that on video. So that's what I want you to listen to. And as I am engaged in ongoing, it's 9:23 a.m. The entity is still stalking by helicopter, just like at the TABOR professional building, just stalking with ongoing helicopter activity. That's not police training that I captured on video, which I've already stated. You're always going back to what the evidence already has and what I've already proven years ago. The case against the state is proven. The entity's been engaged in ongoing repeated kidnapping, which is why they're being disbanded. The entity's been engaged in ongoing stalking and entertaining the defamatory and libelous acts of Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields, while the entity's been targeting. This is why my case that has already been proven years ago, and this is obstruction of justice that the entity's engaged in, and is still permitting the Ontario Police to target me. They're being disbanded, but Tracy Banks is going to federal prison. She's not avoiding that. Everybody that bore false witness against my character while they were trying to get away with finding a way to gang stalk me into a circumstance of taking my life, and also kidnapping. They're going to federal prison for that. And Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. I don't care what information you give about the entity that he was targeting me with, in concert with. He's going to federal prison. You do not become an ally of mine. You're not becoming a friend. You're not less of an enemy that's targeting me. While, by the way, this criminal system that you have been engaged in is still perpetuated. It's still ongoing. There is no investigation, and he's going to federal prison. The entity engaged in, he already stole my property. He's already stolen my money. He's engaged in what is targeting, defaming my character. This is that which the federal government is going to undo all of this. My record is going to go back to being squeaky clean. My criminal record, my medical record, they're going to fix all of that, and he's going to federal prison. Okay? Justice requires it. This is the entity that's engaging in it, and the Ontario Police is repeatedly sounding helicopter, just like when I'm at the TABOR Professional Building. And those idiots just keep on stalking in helicopter over and over and over again. And I keep getting in video after video. And I captured on podcast. That's what they're doing right now while I'm publishing the evidence. And do not forget, because when I walk into Feet Away, the OVITT Family Community Library, Kaylin and Julie and Abby and all of the demons that are working at the OVITT Family, they're gang stalking with the same exact entity. It's underway inside of the library. The same mental illness in operation, the same sexual violence, the same obsessive stalking. Okay? While they're all walking around, they're not walking, they're pacing. They all have multiple shadows. Impossible light activity is what they're in the library inside of. While the fake sun sits over that library, while I document preceding my entrance, stalking with the Ontario Police Department, while I'm remaining inside, they're all stalking with the Ontario Police Department. And this is criminal conduct that Jason Isaac Fields and Tracy Banks are responsible for, while failing and trying to defame my character and steal my property and having sex with each other and summoning demonic spirits in doing so because they thought that they were going to trump over the authority of Christ Jesus. They're delusional psychopaths, and they belong in mental asylums, both of them. They're psychopaths, while they engage in this criminal conduct. And it's mental illness that's shared by the demon possessor or gang stalking. When you are stalking somebody as a population and they're doing it in a whole fake environment, like a fake sun shows, these are psychopaths. This is mental illness actually. This is actual mental illness. This is actually a threat to the public. They're doing things such as using the operations of a whole airport. An entire police department is devoted to stalking me. Like I have bazookas, like I have big... You know why? Because of money. Because of money that they're not getting. And not only that, the secrecy that is required in order to have any prospects of success, which is long gone, the secrecy is gone. And not only that, they're doing it in front of, and guess what? The gang stalking judges are going to federal prison. The demons that were participating in the court hearings are going to federal prison. The demons that are in position of leadership while I'm documenting this, they're being removed from office and they are not accepted from a federal prosecution that results in federal prison. None of them. Okay? The entity's engaging in what is this pattern of conduct, and Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison for what he's already committed, for what he was facilitating, for abusing a government position in doing so, and there is no provision of evidence against the entity that's going to result in that. I'm not removing any sort of, I intend, in other words, there's no, or do you intend to press charges or enforce your rights again? Absolutely. I'm prosecuting Jason to the fullest extent of the law. To the fullest extent of the law. He intended for my demise, to take my money, have threesome and group sex with Tracy Banks, and do it on money that he stole from me and property that belongs to me, while he was going to celebrate, already did celebrate with these demons, and celebrated too soon because they thought that they got away with defaming me and setting me up while they were, the last finishing touch was taking my life. And that was not going to happen, but they didn't know that, obviously. They didn't know that. So this is, absolutely, he belongs to federal prison. I'm not going to stand down on any federal charges that I have against him, that he's committed against me. I'm enforcing all of my rights against him and everybody else. Okay? Forgiveness isn't the issue. It's already given. Justice is also a characteristic of Christ Jesus as well. And I'm prosecuting to the fullest extent of the law. And everybody that engaged in this, let me be clear, with domestic terrorism that the government does with the people of the state, you're going to federal prison. The targeted individual's family, the targeted individual's friend, the targeted individual's co-worker, the targeted individual's classmates, the targeted individual's neighbors, federal prison. Those are the closest ones to them. While you have gang stalking that the entity is showing. Why do they go to federal prison? Because of what the Ontario Police Department is doing. This is why. All right, you heard that vehicle in the background while I begin touching my other phone. They're stalking in real time. This is why they're going to federal prison. Jason Isaac Fields is going to federal prison. And I want to be clear, that's where that maniac belongs. He's a threat to the public. He's a threat to children. He is a threat to American citizens that have no idea about the psychopath that resides in that vessel that is engaged in criminally monitoring and doing so to somebody like myself. I never did anything to him. Not that there's anything that any American citizen will do that the government has any basis to keep you under surveillance like the government is doing to me. But that's just getting to the mental illness, psychopaths, demon possession, public corruption, theft, money, materialism. All right, this is the entity that's gang stalking with the Ontario Police. They're gang stalking me with Jason Isaac Fields. Their criminal conduct is because of what Jason Isaac Fields has sought to engage in against me with his sex partner, who he believed. I don't care about what you believe. That it doesn't matter. You have a responsibility as an official, and you are not only incompetent. You are not only corrupt, you are going to federal prison for gang stalking, which is only committed with the intent to murder someone. You're going to prison with the intent to kidnap someone. American citizens losing their liberty because you think you're going to cash in on their property, you're going to federal prison. And you're not avoiding that. It is currently, again, while the Ontario Police is engaging in what they're always doing, and by the way, it's speaking to every demon's license plate that I documented that are not engaged in police training. They're stalking in the path, and they're being disbanded. And the OVITT Family Community Library is gang stalking now. The Ontario City Hall is gang stalking now. And so is the entity that's gang stalking as a population. Wells Fargo is gang stalking the business. This is relevant to how you're prosecuting the government for a federal RICO case, because they're all engaging in surveillance while the Ontario Police provides ongoing evidence against all of them. This is how the entity's gang stalking system is used to prosecute every single last one of them. It's currently, again, 9:31 a.m. This is P.O.C. It's relevant to federal stalking on the venue of the internet. Staples is stalking in the path just like they are at Starbucks. This is P.O.C. This appears to be the same African American. I'm going to document right now. He's stalking by being parked in relevant position. The fake sun's remaining over me. The Ontario Police Department is gang stalking. It appears to be, is this an African American man? He's wearing a hat. Let me get the license plate. It is literally the P.O.C. The fake sun right here, stalking 8WUR 767. And Staples gang stalking license plate 00739G2. This is what Starbucks is also engaging in. He's gang stalking with the Ontario Police, just like he is at Starbucks, by the way. Opening and closing the door, making a delivery in impossible light, touching my person is the same exact demonic pattern of conduct that Staples, the company, is going to be prosecuted for, and that gang stalker operating the Staples vehicle. 7FBH528. This is P.O.C. and that's psychopathic while a bunch of demons are stalking you and looking to the left and the right. It's psychopathic while they're stalking you in commercial planes. It's psychopathic while they're stalking you in helicopters. It's psychopathic while they're using a whole police department that doesn't have anything else to do other than gang stalk an American citizen and act like they're engaged in law enforcement. Those are the mentally ill that are engaging in the system of federal group stalking and monitoring. It is currently the Ontario Town Square where you'll see those images at 9:32 a.m. where the entity has the fake sun over the Ontario Police Department at 2500 South Archibald Avenue, like I documented 48 hours ago. That's the same Ontario Police Department that's gang stalking me under the fake sun that's not over their police department because they are engaged in state surveillance and they're the demon possessed engaging in state surveillance. That police department engaged in repeatedly kidnapping, that's the one that's being disbanded as well. It is currently, again, 9:33 a.m. This is P.O.C. This is relevant to ongoing obstruction of justice, the harassment, psychological torture, and domestic terrorism by the entity that's keeping the evidence against itself under surveillance because they are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. P.O.C. Alrighty, the entity is stalking by helicopter. This is P.O.C. They're doing so as I just published the podcast onto the website. This is, again, not police training at 303 North Euclid Avenue where the Ontario Police are gang stalking under that 7 a.m. fake sun. This is the same exact stalking conduct that the Ontario Police is engaging in every day. And the fact that they are abusing what are the resources and what are the activities of police departments where they're engaging in what the satanic system of federal group stalking and monitoring, stalking me in helicopter. And the Ontario Police are in relevant position on the opposite side of the street, stalking in the path and holding up a sign
sign saying police training. It's the P.O.C. That's exactly what I captured on video. Bigger context, the entity stalking in helicopter at this same intersection on June 4, 2025 at 6:10 p.m. This is not the natural environment where at what is 9:09 a.m. the entity is surrounded with the evidence, which is putting every other gang stalking police officer in federal prison. The demon that's gang stalking in vehicle number 1076 right here at the 280 North Limit Apartments. This is the OVITT Family Community Library. This is the parking garage. This is Euclid Avenue and C Street, where the entity keeps the fake sun over me everywhere that I'm, every time that I travel to this library. 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 hours from now in the natural environment, the sun would not be still here over me as I'm at that intersection where the Ontario police are gang stalking me with the people of the state. City of Ontario is stalking. It's not landscaping, it's activity creation. We already know that the municipality is engaged in what is landscaping under the fake sun around me while they're stalking as demons in the engineered light. This is not sunlight and neither is that the sun. You're also going to compare the criminal conduct of the Ontario police, the City of Ontario, with the Los Angeles Police Department, where Dominic Choi is targeting me with helicopters at Alvarado Gardens while the entity kept the fake sun over me at Alvarado Gardens at 1800 to 1818 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, replete with what is following me to Chase Bank, for example, where the Los Angeles police engaged in flying in circles over me over my bank, like the Ontario police are engaging in as I document them stalking me day and night under the fake sun during the day, where the entity has this fake sun. Ontario police are gang stalking at 1:07 p.m. at this library. They're going to federal prison. I documented that on video. Ontario police are gang stalking right here at 6:26 p.m. I documented it on video. He's going to federal prison. The Ontario police are gang stalking crossing path, doing so like they're crossing path in helicopter under this fake sun that's still here at 4:07 p.m. He's going to federal prison. The Ontario Police Department are gang stalking for a series of years, repeatedly engaging in kidnapping at this library at 10:29 a.m. on June 16, 2025, including the heavily documented Corey Watson, badge number 80548. He's going to federal prison, and so is every other kidnapper at this OVITT Family Community Library, where the entity keeps the fake sun and surveillance remains underway. It's not police training, it's the P.O.C. Those are demons, and that entire department is being disbanded. The entity is stalking me by helicopter at this moment while I'm publishing the podcast, which is available as of right now, and as I'm in operation of my device, and the demons are sounding, this is noise in the engineer light while the fake sun is over me, which is a supernatural occurrence that's getting to the intent to maintain the elements of monitoring. This is gang stalking that is also underway by the City of Ontario. You'll recall that I am at the Ontario Police Department, 2500 South Archibald Avenue. I'm documenting on podcast. I am present and I'm documenting the fake sun over my head and engineer light inside of that Ontario Police Department. That is not this. This is not over the police department. It's not going to be at 9:32 a.m. and the entity is stalking like I documented at the Ontario City Hall, where the entity is keeping that fake sun and always engaging in the pattern of incriminating themselves. They're being disbanded while the entity sounds helicopter activity. This is the entity that sought to steal property by defaming my character through demons like Tracy Banks, through demons like Jason Isaac Fields, through the demons that have stolen my real property, my personal property, sought to suppress my intellectual property while online, and doing so through the criminal conduct of the targeting entity, the Ontario Police, who are being disbanded for seeking to steal from me by criminally defaming my character via repeatedly kidnapping. They're gang stalking. I want to be clear. This is the disbanding of a corrupt police department that's engaged in state targeting, and this criminal conduct by this department is what corrupt courts have used in order to defame my character while not telling me about property that belongs to me, keeping that property from me while simultaneously targeting and defaming my character in those corrupt courts where judges have stolen property that belonged to me. They've engaged in entertaining defamation while they're engaged in the pattern of conduct which I've been documenting the City of Ontario engaging in together for years in concert with the people of the state, because that's what you're looking at, criminal monitoring right here under the fake sun with the Ontario Police Department, shared with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. Entirely illegitimate departments engaged in state surveillance. Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields are going to federal prison pursuant to targeting me and targeting me with the purpose of profiting, stealing property while the entity is engaging in what is abusing the Welfare and Institutions Code, trying to manufacture mental illness while they're gang stalking an American citizen who was subject to repeated acts of kidnapping, and then relying on that criminal conduct, those acts of targeting, to defame my character so that they can substantiate what is stealing my property that the entity never told me exists, never told me belongs to me. And the obvious stalking by the Ontario Police is the entire destruction of that criminal effort, okay? In addition to that, they're being disbanded. It is currently 9:13 a.m. where the fake sun is still here at 6 p.m. And that's giving you context about stalking deviating from taking off from 2500 Airport Drive. There's no airports where you're taking off from the airport where you're going to be hovering over, and you can see which takes international flights, and they're taking off from Terminal 2, Terminal 4. It's published on the website. Terminal 2 and Terminal 4 is not going to result in what is flying over the Ontario Town Square, and at that they're doing it where the fake sun remains for 11 hours over the day. That is the City of Ontario targeting, just like the Ontario Police Department are. This is the department that the corrupt courts have relied on while they're targeting and seeking to manufacture what is a totally engineered record and an unlawful basis to steal property from an American citizen that suffers no mental illness whatsoever. And the entity is going to federal prison for that. The judges that engaged in stealing from me while they're engaged in state targeting, because that's what this criminal system is exposing, the corrupt judges that intentionally didn't tell me about property that belongs to me while keeping that in controversy in corrupt courthouses while my character is being defamed unbeknownst to me, and the entity is stealing my property. And it's all a distraction from what is the criminal conduct that this state and Tracy Banks and Jason Isaac Fields have engaged in, such as feigning deaths of the person who owns property, such as engaging in what is child trafficking, such as engaging in what is kidnapping. These are the crimes that the entity wants to be a distraction away from while defaming my character and wanting to steal my property in doing so. This is speaking to the prosecution of the state. It's an unprecedented basis of public corruption. It is exposing state surveillance, and the entity is being prosecuted in addition to what is removing the public officials. Karen Bass removal from mayor while she's gang stalking in Los Angeles with the LAPD and the people of the state. Paul Leon, Alan D. WAPNER, Mike Lorenz, Michael GERKEN, these demons, amongst others, to be removed from position while they're engaged in state surveillance with the corrupt population. They're driving on the same street, stalking with light across the building, pursuant to monitoring, and this fake sun is still here 10 hours from now. That's the population that's gang stalking with the police department that's being disbanded. It is currently, again, 9:15 a.m., very far from 2500 South Archibald. That's not the sun over the Ontario Police Department. That's the identification of a bunch of demons that are going to be relieved from being confused with law enforcement ever again. This is P.O.C. (10:06 a.m.) Remember, this is Ontario Police. Under the fake sun and engineered light, obsession, predatory, psychopathic, sexually perverted, sexually motivated, criminal surveillance, the same demon stalking with light in the bathroom. Amplified audible activity. And this is all centered around genitalia. Activity creation. That's a demon pacing around inside of a bathroom, stalking in the path in the bathroom, stalking with the same police department, using helicopters and calling it police training as well in relevant position, under an idle fake sun that sits over the building for 11 plus hours, engaging in surveillance in the bathroom is a perpetual sex offense, and it's also prosecuting Starbucks, who's engaged in monitoring my vagina at 507 North Euclid Avenue and 706 West Hope Boulevard. The entity is engaged in what is gang stalking, and the evidence of that is the insurmountable federal RICO case. This is P.O.C. at 215 E.C. Street bathroom monitoring. Their perpetual sex offense. This is P.O.C. This is illustrative of the obsession, not relieving oneself. In engineered light, it's stalking. Under the fake sun, it's stalking, and it is occurring in the bathrooms, and this is the disbanding of that sex offender, the Ontario Police Department. P.O.C. Question. Today's Thursday, right?
Right.
What time do you guys close today?
Today, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock? Okay.
Tomorrow is 6, though, because it is a Friday.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. So
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday is 6.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. What's your name again?
Alexis.
Alexis? Thank you. Have a good night.
Alrighty, it is 8:40 p.m. Alexis is monitoring my vagina in the bathroom. She's a violent sex offender. She's wearing lime green, sitting at the circulation desk with two other employees who are also sex offenders, monitoring my vagina with the rest of the patrons, a bunch of demons sitting in engineer light all day long, stalking with noise, interfering with internet operation. While they're monitoring with that level of detail, they're doing the same thing with regard to monitoring my vagina in the bathroom, where the entity maintain amplified audible activity. It maintains what is stalking in the path while surveillance is underway at the OVITT Family Community Library at 215 East C Street in Ontario, California, where you saw the Ontario Police Department gang stalking and calling it police training in relevant position under the 7 a.m. fake sun. And the documentation shows that the fake sun remains until sunset. That's why Alexa is gang stalking by employment. She's also a violent sex offender monitoring my vagina in the bathroom, which is the built-in sex offense of gang stalking. It's 8:41 p.m. where bathroom monitoring is underway by the boys and girls that are demon-possessed in Ontario, gang stalking with the City of Ontario. This is P.O.C. Alrighty, monitoring my vagina along with Alexa and all the other employees gang stalking by employment at the City of Ontario's Ontario OVITT Family Community Library is licensed 9CGP579, who's also molesting me as I document their sexual violence. All right, and so is Alexa. Understand, they're acting as one entity. So her co-defendants are outside engaging in what are surveillance in the parking garage, psychopaths sitting around in that engineer light, monitoring my vagina together. It's a massive act of surveillance every time I pull my panties down. License 9RHX518, license 9HTU070, license 7VJN091. And based on Alexa's concern with my vagina and not having any warrant or probable cause to monitor it with the Ontario Police Department in the City of Ontario, she is subject to what is a federal prosecution as an exceedingly violent sex offender engaged in the sex offense of gang stalking, which is criminal conduct committed by the government in concert with the people of the state, which is what she represents, working at a state facilitating venue, and engaged in an ongoing unlawful threat to my life as I document her. License 8RYE926. While the entity sounds helicopter activity, the Ontario Police Department that you saw gang stalking and holding up a sign talking about police training, that department is what's stalking with helicopter, and that's the same one that's going to be disbanded. Gang stalking with black folks, gang stalking with white folks, gang stalking with Asian people. There are no race lines with regard to gang stalking. They're all demons. 9NZY005, 9RJA743. They're all monitoring my vagina. License 9SKC862. 9SPS431, 9NRA932, 8BMF845. And you all, everybody already knows that Mike LORENZ is monitoring my vagina. I'm getting all of Mike LORENZ's co-defendants. License 9RDD076, 9GCR360, 9BHG944, 9JXP696. I'm in the parking garage where the entity is maintaining engineer light on the ceiling. That's where they're all stalking in the path, where the entity has the fake sun over that parking garage at 10:13 in the morning, where you saw the Ontario Police gang stalking during the 7 a.m. hour, where the sun's going to sit for another 3 hours while they engage in police training. License 9UEB795. That's gang stalking. That's the embarrassing criminal conduct of a bunch of stalkers. They're not engaged in law enforcement. 9AMK019. The City of Ontario has been engaged in criminally irresponsible, wasteful resources on criminal activities such as using helicopters to stalk me. 7UXM283. That's also why Mike LORENZ and everybody else is done with law enforcement and they're being disbanded. License 51440A4. Their gang stalking is why the Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. License plate 7KKY233. License plate 9JZD464, 5KOE341. Yeah, 341. It is currently 8:49 p.m. and that's just a sample of the amount of people that are in the parking garage, all of whom concerned with me pulling my panties down in the bathroom, which is again public information where the sex offenders are gang stalking by company name, by third parties using their vehicles, licensed courtesy patrol, Parking Concepts Inc., AVCC 907. That's a corrupt gang stalking company, and that's also a gang stalker operating that vehicle, monitoring my vagina as well. Okay? P.O.C. Let me get the light activity on the back of this, this license plate with this demon molesting. License 9NSH261. Gang stalking immigrants are being deported. Buying a Tesla made by Elon Musk is not protecting you. You will be deported. It is currently 8:48 p.m., 8:50 p.m. This is P.O.C. The perpetual sex offense, which is committed outside of the walls of the library. I just document the sex offenders like Alexa, all right, who surround me inside of that venue while the entity maintains amplified activity inside of the walls, while a bunch of gang stalking males stalk in relevant position in the male restroom, while a bunch of psychopaths pace around and engineer light outside and around the bathroom, and even the demons, as you've seen, want to be next to me in the bathroom in order to engage in what is gang stalking. That's how obsessed the demon-possessed are. While the entity is stalking by helicopter, everybody I just documented engaged in criminal conduct with the Ontario police that are being disbanded. All right, pay close attention to all those license plates that I documented, because that was Ontario Police Department vehicles. They're private vehicles. They're going to federal prison. It's currently 8:50 a.m. This is P.O.C. Molesting with light, license plate 5KDU 864. Stalking in the middle of the street, just like I documented on F Street. And these are demons stalking with the Ontario International Airport, public corruption, the Ontario Police stalking by helicopter, another neighborhood, a bunch of demons, psychopaths. And this is also letting you know how far and wide what's going on with my vagina, how far and wide that information pertaining to my vagina is, while they're stalking as I go from street to street. 23079V2. This is P.O.C. The license 9CSP379. They get all their neighbors documented as well. They're gang stalking where they live. License 8KZA429 44676J3. Psychopaths sitting around stalking, aiming light. They are psychopaths, not normal behavior. 9HPC 948. And this is government behavior. This is government action, state action. Psychopaths are being removed from public office. They're being prosecuted. They're being removed from positions of authority. And they're being placed in asylums. They're being placed in prison. They're being labeled as the appropriate sex offenders that they are, the domestic terrorists that they are. It's currently 8:54 p.m. where the entity is stalking with light at nightfall. Okay, because that's all that they're doing under the fake sun. They're all stalking with light together. And they're all mentally sick while you witness that. License 08304S1, P.O.C. This is the Ontario Police Department stalking, which is exactly what they were doing at 303 North Euclid Avenue this morning, calling up police training. This is the Ontario Police Department stalking me. Not engaged in law enforcement and not engaged in police training. They're engaged in what is preparing for a federal prosecution and nationwide embarrassment. Because I'm going to prosecute a fake gang stalking corrupt police department as a bunch of sex offenders obsessed with my vagina, who cannot stop following me around from place to place, and who've been engaged in, they can't stop touching me. That's why they keep kidnapping, while these demons are obsessed with me. Stalking, and they're obsessed because they are demon possessed. It's the spirit of Satan that compels them, and Satan has got them wrapped up in what is a case for disbanding in federal prison. I am at the intersection, just so you understand, stalking at a different location, same pattern of being where I'm at in the specific environment. This is Lemon and F Street. This is the pattern of conduct. Okay, I can't make this up. This is the entity stalking by a police. This is one shadow. There's another. And there's the people of the state stalking where they live. That's not headlights. That's the entity stalking by light. The Ontario Police is being disbanded. That wasn't police training like I told you. You're not engaging in anything other than stalking under a fake sun. You're not engaging in anything other than stalking and engineer light. And a population is going to be dealt with federally for that as well. This is while the entity is engaging in what is impunity, including as the people of the state maintain relevant position on behalf of the Ontario Police, maintain light activity on behalf of the Ontario Police. You are living in relevant position, you're gang stalking on behalf of the Ontario Police. I will prosecute you where you live. It is currently 8:57 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is all engineer light. The Ontario police are stalkers. And you saw a group of stalkers wearing police uniform vests and bearing weapons to this morning and calling it law enforcement, police training. That's why they're being disbanded. They don't understand what law enforcement is. It's not stalking. It's not the practice of satanic behaviors either. And this is public corruption that the Ontario Police Department is responsible for as well. P.O.C. These are demons stalking with the police department. This is federal prison. Let me recite these license plate because this is federal prison. License plate. 8XWN235, 8WCV385. I have multiple shadows. This is context. This is stalking. 8EEP044. That's a fake church. They're gang stalking. This is the demon that's engaged in babysitting children while she's gang stalking. These are the demons that are engaged in what is monitoring me while I was walking, and they're in their home stalking in the middle of the street. This is the same intersection, F Street and Lemon, and they're gang stalking right now. What the Ontario Police said you just saw flying in circles, and I have multiple shadows. This is P.O.C. Having multiple shadows is relevant to stalking with light, pursuant to criminal monitoring. Everybody in their homes, everybody gang stalking where they live, you'll be prosecuted there. It's a means of easily identifying you. This is the pattern of conduct. That's my shadow here. And the entity is engaging at this little fake iglesia over here. It's a Iglesia El Diablo. Okay, that's a den of demons. The actual Church of Christ is not worshiping Satan and gang stalking a believer of Christ Jesus, not targeting. The Holy Spirit is not targeting itself. Those are demons, Spanish-speaking demons. And gang stalking immigrants are not welcome in this country. They will be deported. I'm going to prosecute them. And the Ontario Police gang stalking right now did not just help their case. If you don't have your papers, if you've been granted citizenship, you're out of this country. That's the Ontario Police providing P.O.C. This is P.O.C. 7VGG281. Gang stalking immigrants are not welcome in this country. They're not welcome. This terrorism right here, they're not welcome. All right, this is what Mr. Trump is handling right now. And I want to be clear, it's the only thing that I agree with him on. They're not welcome in this country. If you're in here gang stalking and you've been granted the privilege to be here, it wasn't to engage in monitoring American citizens. This is my shadow appearing across the street while you're looking retarded, looking stupid. I'm going to prosecute you. It is currently, again, 8:59 p.m. That's the pattern of conduct. That's the pattern of conduct, and they call it church. Okay, that's Satan's church. That's P.O.C. And you can thank the Ontario Police Department when you get deported. You can thank them. License 6T91759, stalking with light, P.O.C. In California, those that are granted the privilege to be in this country are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. Deport every single last one of them. Deport every last one of them. This is P.O.C. It is currently 9 p.m. License 8HAN410, molestation. That's the same entity. And I want to be clear, those that are natural born citizens, homegrown domestic terrorists, they're gang stalking with immigrants as well. And that same impunity is attributed to the entire entity. And likewise, the federal policy will also apply. Gang stalking immigrants sharing in that impunity and malice will be deported. 7BVJ145. P.O.C. Laurelwood Apartments are again gang stalking the entire apartment complex, stalking around the perimeter with light activity, doing so on behalf of the government. All right, while they're living in your homes, you don't have any constitutional right to engage in criminal monitoring, which is what Laurelwood Apartments is engaging in as a venue. And they're doing so as the people of the state with the Ontario Police Department that's gang stalking, as I documented on the video, around the block. Okay, this is one entity that's stalking from place to place. And that's an unlawful threat. It's domestic terrorism while the entity does so. Go ahead and recite this license plate because this is the people of the state. CH45436, and that's a Illinois license plate. And the demons using this vehicle as a means of light activity, stalking in the path. They're doing so in engineered light. It is license 9LIW285. It is currently 9:08 p.m. Hold on, 9:03 or 9:08? 9:03 p.m. License plate 9KIJ670, that third party you hear, molesting with impossible light. HOPE21G, molesting. 9KRM408 at another fake church. Yeah, Victory Outreach, they don't have any victory. They're outright failures and they're demons, gang stalking. 9U BP 729, molesting. That fake church is a venue, 8PFH 363. They are gang stalking in the midst of what is supposed to be a church service. That is the P.O.C. Where the demons call gang stalking police training. That's the P.O.C. License 8WXY858. 6ZNK111. This is why you will not be relying on the superficial veil, what they call it, the specific identity, because the superseding facts are the specific environment. The entity is relying on you to be distracted by, hey, this is who I am, this is where I'm from, this is what I'm known for, this is my title, these are the acronyms after my name. When you know what they are, they're demons. They're demons relying on that so that you don't pay attention to what is right in front of your face. Public corruption is always existing in plain sight. And Satan, who wants to appear as an angel of light, will engage in it, will execute it right in front of your face. They can call it whatever they want. Kaiser Permanente calls it healthcare. They're gang stalkers. Okay? The entity is engaged in that pattern of conduct, and you will be prosecuted, period. You will be prosecuted, period. All right? It is currently 9:06 p.m. This is P.O.C. This is documentation of an entity stalking from place to place. Okay? It's the fake sun starting at the TABOR Professional Building. And guess where the fake moon is at night? Where I show you the TABOR Professional Building over me. Where the entity is stalking me. Gang stalking in particular, which is demonic. It's a very specific type of stalking, using supernatural features of terrorism while they're monitoring you. That's not just following you around, that's monitoring your physical movements. That's monitoring you and engaging in psychological torture. All right, that's pursuant to what are spiritually attacking you in ways that the ordinary target individual is ignorant about. License plate, I can't really see that one. License plate, but this is at 325 West G Street, 6YOX838. All right, so monitoring, criminal monitoring, which the government is engaging in, is a whole other level of stalking. But it is nonetheless stalking, and it's criminal. And it is in violation of existing laws. And laws that shall come into existence to deal with every malicious iteration of this criminal pattern of conduct that is included in the corrupt system in the United States, where the government's monitoring American citizens with that population, the people of the state. The mentally ill population that's engaged in surveillance in plain view. It's embedded into society. And there is a necessity of laws in order to address this, in order to make sure that it is met with justice, commensurate to the threat, if not greater than that threat, to disincentivize it so that nobody will ever be audacious enough to threaten somebody and say gang stalk them in their face. Your family will think about it before they start gang stalking you. Your friends will think about it before they start gang stalking you, because they will learn about what California went through when they engaged in gang stalking Erica Lorraine Spencer. All right, it's currently 9:08 p.m. This is P.O.C. License 8YRA265 and 5UCW330. Okay, the fake moon is over me, and the entity is sounding plain activity, stalking, obviously, in a specific environment, as well as I turn on my hotspot of my phone. This is Title 18 federal stalking that the people of the state share in. It's 9:32 p.m. This is what the people of the state were engaging in while surveillance remained underway for the entirety of the day of the business of the Ontario OVITT Family Community Library. It was criminal surveillance in violation of federal stalking statute, Title 18, Section 22618, subsections 1 and 2. And these are the demons that are stalking in the library, the people of the state. Stalking with noise, monitoring my vagina, doing so with real-time knowledge of everything that I say and do as I say and do it, including pulling my panties down. That level of sexual violence and hovering, stalking, monitoring on behalf of the government, that sounds plain activity, and stalked with impossible light activity the moment that I turn on my Wi-Fi radio, those demons who are referred to as the people of the state in the federal prosecution, the federal RICO case against the government, where the people of the state are going to be prosecuted along with the state. It's 9:33 p.m. This is P.O.C. at the TABOR Professional Building.